Alright guys, for this lesson we are learning about the area of a circle. So there's another formula you need to write in your journal, right here. Area is pi r squared. So we were doing circumference, which is around the circle, and now we're going to do the area. So now, hold on, I have a shape maker here. You're going to have a circle, and the area is everything inside of it. Okay? So, make sure you write this in your journals. Area equals pi times the radius squared. Okay, now remember, when you have radius squared, that's like saying radius times a radius, however many number of times this is. And pi is 3.14. All right, so let's practice this. Let's go look at an example. Please put this in your journals. Okay, so write this down, draw a little picture, pause this video if you need to so you can draw this little picture. First, you're going to find the area of the circle. Now remember, pi could have been 22/7 or 3.14, and it will always tell you which one to use, or if it doesn't, then you put in 3.14 is the one you're going to use. So you have a circle here, and it tells you the radius. Remember, the radius is half the distance across the circle. So let's use your formula. I don't want you to estimate, so don't worry about that. So we're going to use our formula. Area equals pi r squared, and we're going to plug in the different parts that we know. So we're going to have 22/7 for the radius, for the pi, I'm so sorry. And then you're going to multiply that times 7, because 7 is what the radius is, squared. So when you do this, you may use a calculator for this, guys. You can do 7 squared and then multiply it times 22/7. Okay? Remember, 7 squared is just 7 times 7, which would be 49. Okay? And then they simplified this before they multiplied it, but you may use a calculator. So you have 22/7 times 49, which will give you 154. So the area, the entire blue shaded part of this circle, is 154 square centimeters. All right? Make sure you wrote all of that down. I'm going to go over it one more time. So you plug in pi, 3.14 or 22/7, and our radius was 7, so we plugged in the 7 where the r is, and then we did the math. So 7 squared, or 7 times 7 is 49, times 22/7 gives you 154. So let's do another example. So we're going to find the area of this circle, this green one. And you see in this case, they ask you to use 3.14 for pi. Okay, I don't care about estimating, so let's not estimate. Now remember, how do you find the radius of this one? Because this gives you the diameter, gives you it all the way across. So the radius is half of that. So you're going to take 26 and divide it by 2, which you can see they did right here, which should give you 13 inches. So let's plug in all the parts into the formula. So pi, in this case, we're using 3.14, so plug that in. Our radius was half of that 26, so 13. Now, this is 13 squared. It's not 13 times 2, it's 13 squared, which is 13 times 13. So if you do 13 times 13, you get 169. Then you multiply that times 3.14. You may use a calculator for this, guys. And you'll get 530.66. Okay, so the area of this circle is 530.66 square inches. Good. Make sure you wrote this all down. If you need to pause this video, pause it until you have it all written down. If you need to rewind it and have me explain it again, do that. All right, so now let's do an example. Write this in your journals. This is, for next year, it's called On Your Own, but for this year, it's an example. All right, so they want us to find the area of a circle with the radius of 6 feet. So let me draw a little circle here. A bigger circle. Okay, and they said the radius, so that's half of it, is 6 feet. And then use pi, or 3.14 for pi. So remember our formula, area equals pi r squared. So let's plug in what we know. Area equals pi, we're doing 3.14. And then radius is 6, put in parentheses, because you're going to square it. Okay, now to simplify, 3.14, what is 6 squared? 6 times 6 is 36. So then you're going to multiply 36 times 3.14, which should give you 1386. And this is measured in feet, and then you would square it. Feet squared, or squared feet, however you want to say that. Okay, I don't know why, but the answer key has this wrong. I was looking at it, I was like, that can't be right. Because 6 squared is 36 times 3.14 should give you 113.04. So answer key in my book is wrong. But that's okay. That's why I check it. 113.04 feet. Yep, okay. So erase that and put the right answer. All right, so let's do another on your own for your journals. These are just examples for you. Okay, so we're going to find another area of a circle. So let me draw my little circle. Big circle. Okay, and in this one, they said the diameter is 28 meters. So remember, diameter means all the way across. So 28 for this whole thing. Well, we need the radius. To find the radius, it's the diameter cut in half. So divided by 2. So half of 28 would be 14. So that's what the radius equals. So again, let's use our formula. Area equals pi r squared, and let's plug in our stuff. So the area equals pi, they want us to use 22 over 7. Whoa, 22 over 7 times the radius, which is 14, because it's half the diameter, and square that. So 14 squared, 22 over 7, is 196. So 196 times 22 over 7 should give you 616, and then we got to label this meters squared. So 616 meters squared. Good. Okay, so pay attention. If it gives you the diameter, you got to cut it in half to get what the radius is, because this only wants radius, not diameter. So you do have to pay attention to that when you're solving. All right, let's look at, I think, the next example. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is just using your brain. You don't actually have to do any math on this one. All right, you want to find the distance the monster truck travels when the tires make one 360-degree rotation. So if you think about it, we have a tire, and it's going to go in a circle 360 degrees. Which best describes the distance? The radius of the tire, which is just this part. The circumference of the tire, which is the distance around. The diameter, which is the distance all the way across. Or the area, which is the shaded part. What do you guys think? Okay, well, when the tire rolls over, that's talking about around the tire. So C would be the correct answer because it's the circumference. So the correct answer is C. I don't know if all of my drawings show up very well in here. Okay, so that one was just stretching your brain, using it a little bit. So now let's look at the next example. Okay, so we're going to do these find the area of the semicircle or half circles. Okay, so again, earlier we found the circumference, which was all the way around, and then sometimes if it was a half circle, we divided it in two. Area is the same way. You find the area of what would be the entire circle, and then you divide it by 2 to get the correct answer. So let's practice this. I'm going to write the equation up here at the top just to remind you. Our area is pi r squared. And since these are all half circles, once you get that answer, you're going to divide it by 2. But let's do number 4. And for all of these, since it doesn't tell you what to use pi, I would use 3.14. So for this one, we have area equals our pi is 3.14. Now what's our radius? This is talking about the diameter here, so that's the full length. We want half of that, so our radius would be half of 8, which would be 4. And then square it. Okay, you guys may use calculators through this. 4 squared, which is 4 times 4, which would be 16. So you have 3.14 times 16. And you should get 50.24. Okay, now that's for the whole circle. Remember, this is a semicircle, so now we need to divide that by 2 to get our final answer for this. So our final answer is 25.12. So make sure you double check and look and see what you're solving for. Are you solving for a whole circle or a half a circle? And then you need to label this. This is meters squared. All right, now let's do number 5. So area, pi times the radius. The radius here, again, they show you the diameter, which is 5, so what's half of 5? Would be 2.5 squared. So 2.5 times 2.5, or 2.5 squared, 3.14 is 6.25. And then times 3.14 gives you 19.625. And again, this is a semicircle, so now we got to divide this by 2 because it's a half a circle, not a whole circle. And you're going to get 9.8125. Now, if you rounded this to, 1 or 2 decimals, I'm not going to count off for that. Make sure you label it. We're talking about yards. It gives you the measurement right here. All right, and the last one. So we have area equals pi, 3.14, times the radius, and look here, they actually gave you the radius, 11 squared. Okay, so 11 squared would be 11 times 11, which is 121. And then you multiply that times 3.14, and you're going to get 379.94. Now again, this is a half a circle, so we divide that by 2, and you're going to get 189.97. And this one is centimeters squared. All right, so pay attention to whether you're doing whole circles or semicircles, because at the end of it, if it's a semicircle, you've got to divide it by 2. Otherwise, you can just use this top formula to find the area of a circle. Let me check, see if there's anything I missed in your lesson. Okay, I'm going to do number 5 with you, because it's a little bit here. It tells you an FM radio station signal travels, so this is on page 140, let me write that down. Page 140 in your workbook, which, by the way, this is the only page you have to do. So 6 problems for today's homework. So page 140, this is number 5. I'm going to give you this answer. So an FM radio station travels in a 40-mile radius. Okay, so if I have a circle, okay, and then this is FM. Okay, and it said the radius was 40 miles. Okay, and then it says an AM radio station, so I'm going to draw another circle here and make it blue. An AM radio station. Signal travels in a 4-mile radius. So this radius is 4, so this is actually a much smaller circle, even though I drew it big. How much more area does the FM cover than the AM? So it actually wants to know the difference. It wants to know how much more this one covers compared to this one. Well, first we have to find the area of each, and then you can subtract the difference. So to find the area, again, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So for the FM station, we have 3.14 times the radius, which is 40, squared. Okay, so 40 squared, 3.14 is 1,600. And then you multiply that times 3.14, and you're going to get 5,024. So the FM radio station covers 5,024 miles squared, technically. So now let's look at the AM. Oh, I didn't label this. This is the AM radio station. So this one, the 3.14 times 4 squared. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. So then you do 16 times 3.14. 16 times 3.14. And you're going to get 50.24. And this, of course, is also miles squared. But the question it asks is how much more does the FM cover? So now we need to subtract the 2. So I'm going to say 50.24 minus 50.24. So 50.24 minus 50.24. And you're going to get still a very large number, 4,973.76 miles. Okay, so the FM radio station covers almost 5,000 miles more than the AM radio station. That's why when you're driving down the road, you hear the FM better than the AM. Okay, so there's another example for that. That is number 5 on your workbook page. Make sure you complete the rest of this. So for your assignment, you're doing page 140. This is it, just the one page. And you need to do numbers 1 through 6, although I've already done number 5 for you on just the previous screen. That's your lesson. That's it. You will be finding the area of circles on your IXL, I believe, tomorrow. So make sure you have your notebook out when you work on your IXL as well. Holler if you need any help.